Yo, what's up, everyone? It's Fight Club, and we're back at it again for our 8th podcast, and we're too shy away from 10. We're about to hit double digits, Mysterio.
We gotta have a party up in here when we reach double digits. Like, get a couple of DJs in here and slow down.
What a marvelous accolade. I mean, we've been doing 8 podcasts, and it's been a blast. People have been super receptive, and I'm all for it, man. If you guys like what you're seeing, please share it, comment, let people know. We're out here doing this for you guys. We're just trying to
spread the word,
trying to give you guys a piece of our mind. But let's just talk about what's been going on over the past couple of weeks, Mysterio. Ultra Music Festival was a shit show. Apparently, we weren't there. But this is what the internet is broadcasting. I was on Twitter while it was happening, and here's the scoop. Here's what happened. So for X amount of years, Ultra Music Festival has always taken place in downtown Miami, in this huge space that I think it's a park. I don't know what it is, and it's always been there. And this year they decided to change it up. And they had Ultra Music Festival on an island. I don't know who greenlit this, but I could have told them myself that it's a pretty shitty idea to have 40,000 people go into an island and then come out of an island late at night when there's only one way to get in and one way to get out. It's literally a bridge that takes you there and a bridge that gets you out. I can only imagine. Apparently on Twitter, people were saying there was like 15,000 people stuck on the bridge. People were walking over the bridge to get to their hotels. It was a total shit show. And Mysterio, we checked out the article. Apparently the mayor is saying that they're not going to have it again next year on the island.
The mayor said you need to find a new venue that's more applicable to what you're looking for. It's amazing that this was greenlit on such a high level. Like, who greenlit this? Who said this was a good idea?
Not sure what's going to happen, whether...
You know, SAV, that there was an intern in there that was like a guy named Phil. Like, guys, I really don't think this is a good idea. And like, shut up, Phil. Go count the wristbands. Do something you're good at. And Phil's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the intern got the shit end of the stick. It was probably definitely an intern.
The intern, he knows.
And I'm sure the intern also told him it was probably a shitty idea to have a Colonel Sanders play at Ultra Music Festival during a changeover. Like, that's another thing we want to talk about.
Yeah, people aren't gonna like this. You probably shouldn't do it. Shut up, Phil. We're fucking Ultra.
Who approved that? I mean, I get it. It makes sense. Aesthetically, it looked kind of cool. It's a Colonel Sanders up there. It's an LED Colonel Sanders head, kind of modeled a la Deadmau5 Marshmallow. I get it. It looked kind of cool. But, man, the execution was just totally off. Like, it was super corny. The guy was up there.
It could have been super cool if you imagine he was a good DJ. Imagine he was like dropping some underground bangers or like a rhythm set, like something that people wouldn't expect. And it would have got people talking in a viral, positive sense. But instead, Twitter sphere was set ablaze in anger. And I gotta say that a lot of these people, they did overreact to a degree because I wasn't there. So they had me believing that Colonel Sanders played an entire set. And like you said, it was a changeover. A couple of minutes. It really wasn't a long set.
Yeah, that's okay. A changeover set, but you're right. I mean, the dude could have went up there and just like murdered it. It's kind of like when I see Shaquille O'Neal playing, right? Shaq. I don't even know Shaq's DJ name, but apparently Shaq is playing. No, that's not it. But Shaq's playing these like. That's actually good. He's like playing these festivals, and I actually watched one of them the other day on YouTube. My dude throws the fuck down. He is playing some hardcore rhythm, dubstep.
Hardfest, right?
He's playing Hardfest. Yeah, it just got announced yesterday. Hardfest Summer, Shaq's playing it. And rightfully so, because it's not corny. one would think, oh, Shaq, yeah, former NBA basketball player. He was this huge star in the 90s. He's washed up now. He's just doing this for clout. No way. He actually, when you could, if you do yourselves a favor and go on YouTube, watch Shaq play a set. He is so into the set, like you can tell he loves the it's probably him selecting all the tracks in the set, and he's up there really feeling it. Like it's not bullshit. Like
he wouldn't be getting away with this if he wasn't like Valentino Khan would not be supporting him. Like they played some shows together. These guys would not be fucking with Shaq if he was a joke.
Yeah, I mean, remember that Paris Hilton? Like that was a short stint, right? That lasted like a year or something. She wasn't really into the music, but Shaq, man, Shaq is all about it. So this Colonel Sanders thing could have manifested into something much bigger, and it could have led to something else for KFC, something more, with more longevity down the line, right? Like they could have had him playing EDC, but the problem was, again, the execution. It was just poorly handled, man.
But I do have to say that I was a little annoyed by seeing some of the DJ's reactions to it. Especially the weird thing is, I'm not gonna mention names, but some of the DJs were DJs who wear masks or things on their heads, and big ones were complaining. And for me, like, you have to take some responsibility, right? When corporate is sitting there, the corporate people at KFC and the corporate people at Ultra, and they're thinking of something that the kiddies want. Let's put on a show for the kids. What do they want? They're taking from what they see as successful. So if you have a gimmick like that, which there's nothing wrong with it, I mean, look at me. But if you have a gimmick like that, you have to understand that inadvertently you are part of this. Like, they thought this was a good idea because you're super popular in the scene. So, I mean, it just was weird when I was seeing those kind of people complaining and, like, really not taking any onus to the fact that whether they wanted to be or not, they are part of this problem. I mean, you have anything to say about that?
Is it really? I was just about to say, is it really a problem though? I think that, Daft Punk, they were the ones I think that started the whole thing in dance music.
I obviously don't think it's a problem. Look at me. But the person complaining thought it was a problem, and I thought that was weird.
Yeah, I found that a little bit odd too, given the circumstances. It's just.
Hey, you think you can pass me that water? See, this is real shit in here, baby. real life shit.
You're right there?
Oh, I'm good. I'm Gucci. The other thing, aside from that, DJs started getting really self-righteous about it, or not. That's not the word, but they started saying things. I was seeing DJs say things like, "Oh, they used Colonel Sanders. That spot could have been given to a up-and-comer," and it's like, yo, absolutely. But, yo, shut up, DJ, because, now, all of a sudden, you're gonna worry about the up-and-coming DJs. You never talk about the upcoming DJs. You never try to toss some bones. You didn't bring somebody up there with you and play their new track or something. Like, there's things you could be doing to be helping these up-and-coming DJs. And now you're saying things like that. And in my opinion, I feel like your real issue, the big DJs, as well as the ones in the masks, felt threatened by this. Or you felt like your job and your scene was gonna look silly. It was from a place of feeling threatened. And then you tried to mask that with, oh, we should give the spot to an up-and-coming DJ. First of all, it was a changeover set that we end up knowing now. It wasn't a full set. But I guess that still could have been cool to have an up-and-comer play for 2-3 songs, I guess. But it's just hard for me to believe. And some of you may say, Mysterio, how the hell do you know that? I don't. But I'm just saying, to me, that's what I sniffed it. That's what it smelled like to me. It smelled like to me that these people felt that they were looking silly or foolish, that their scene and their job and livelihood appeared foolish because of this Colonel Sanders guy. And the masked DJs very well may have felt threatened, like, damn, if corporate can just throw a helmet on this guy, like, damn, they could recreate me, and maybe I'll be less relevant. This is dangerous for me, so let me take a strong stance against this.
They're not entirely wrong about that. I mean, let's be honest, like at this point in time, it's pretty easy to replicate a Deadmau5 or a Marshmello or Daft Punk. I mean, all it really takes is some solid financial backing to create these LED helmets and this elaborate light show, and then you hire some ghost producer to make the music. Like, it's really not that hard to replicate what they're doing. But
okay,
well, I mean, you're right.
If you have the whole package like that. But it is hard to replicate if the music is garbage. Like, I believe in the community enough that they're not going to just get behind any garbage. Like, the community was not praising this KFC set. If it would have been good,
Watch your zipper.
that would have been different. But I have enough faith in the community. I have enough faith in the community that if they're being sold total garbage, they're not going to just eat it up because the guy's got a cool mask on. I mean, Deadmau5 makes good music. Marshmello makes good music. I mean, it may not be my bag, but it's good music.
Yeah, for sure. I think they could have given that changeover set to like a contest winner. They should do that. They should have like a contest. Hey, you know, if you want to win an opportunity to play Ultra Music Festival, enter this contest. And they should just let some up and coming DJ go up there and do their thing for 10 minutes.
See, you say that, and
Sponsored by KFC.
And that would have been
right?
viral and genius, and it would have made them look good. You say that, and I believe that you mean that from the bottom of your heart. I don't think you're just saying that to mask anything.
No, I think something like that would probably help their brand long term, because it shows that they're giving back to the community. It shows that they're giving back to the struggling artist, you know?
Sure.
But hey, listen, it was
That's
attempted.
Not what they did.
It was a total fail, but I wouldn't be surprised if they attempt it again next year. Moving on, Mysterio, let's talk about something that happened to you recently on social media.
Oh my God. It's been a hellish 3 days. I've been attacked. I've been burned me at the stake. But hey, listen, whenever you put yourself out there, you put a tweet on the internet, you have to be prepared for feedback. So I'm not really complaining. I'm joking about being attacked. But yes, you have the tweet here. I made a controversial tweet. And
But before you get into that, hold that thought. I'm actually gonna pause this recording because we're gonna run out of battery, and we always like to keep these podcasts live. So let me just stop that for a second.
Leave you in suspense real quick. LOL. Getting a bit tired of these super successful DJs whining about their depression in the midst of their elaborate tour schedules. What about the many DJ producers living with depression, no tour schedules, and their 90-hour dead-end job work schedules? Smell the roses, yo. So that was my initial tweet. It started off harmless enough. It was made to my fan base. It was like 30 retweets, maybe 15 likes. And then some of the bigger DJs started to retweet it. And then, the floodgates opened in. Now, I want to start off by saying, like, when I made this tweet, I made this for my modest fan base. I think I have 1,400 people on my Mysterio page. I don't tweet from the Fight Club page for reasons like this, because I'm a no-filter kind of guy. But I made this for a fan base that I've built for 7 or 8 years, that I have a very intimate relationship with. I feel like a lot of those people listen to these podcasts. I communicate with them on Twitter. They know me. They know that I'm a loose cannon, that I speak from the heart and the gut and no filter, and I'm not always the most PC spoken person. And that's who I was aiming this at. Like, I got a lot of accusations that I was looking for clout, that I was trying to go viral. I'm not a noob. I'm not stupid enough to think that a negative tweet like this is gonna do anything good for my career in the industry. Like, I would never make a tweet like that thinking that all these the bigger community is gonna see it. Not that I'm ever fake with what I write or what I say, but let's say I was in Electro Magazine and I wanted to say something like this, or, you know, any kind of EDM publication, I would have been more all-inclusive. Like, I would have started it with something like, I realize that DJs touring the world have their own plights and pressures and whatnot, and that leads to a whole new slew of depression. I would have totally said something like that, but again, the big DJs, and they just don't fuck with me on my Mysterio page like that. Those guys never retweet or acknowledge me in that sense, so I had no reason to think that this would get in their peripheral. It was foolish, because it is Twitter, it's the internet, and anytime you put anything anywhere on the internet, there's a chance that it can go viral. And then it's open to other people's interpretations, and that's fair game. But what was upsetting the most to me, because I was going through I read everything, you know, like a troll, because I don't want to look like something I'm not. And what was disappointing, I should say, but it's my own fault, is that people seem to think that I was dismissing the bigger DJs in their depression. I never said I didn't believe they were depressed. And I never said that they shouldn't tweet about it. I simply said I was tired of it. But little old me, I didn't think that I don't have the power to silence you. I'm not God. I'm not even Diplo. Like, I'm not at that level where, or at least I didn't feel like I would have any power to silence you or to make you feel a type of way.
Did you just compare Diplo and God? Like,
It just happened. Yes, it just happened.
oh my God.
Am I gonna be in the more controversy? Is this gonna make
I think that's
sacrilegious now
That's
too?
way more controversial than your tweet. But go on.
But and maybe that was my mistake, but I didn't see power in my words, and I definitely did not expect what happened to happen. But I want you to understand that I completely understand depression, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I said it on the tweets, that I do live with depression to a degree. And people were calling me out and saying, I don't trust anybody who says they have depression and then go question other people's depression. And they're entitled to their opinion, but I live with myself, and I think I would know myself. Here's my story. My father is on medication for depression. My sibling took so much lithium in her life, she has kidney disease, and had to actually change her prescription. I saw a psychiatrist who wanted me to be prescribed a medication, and I chose not to go on it. So I am not a medicated depressive. And my idea of depression or definition is anytime you have obsessive thoughts that you can't get out of your head, that swirl around and take over your psyche, and they're all you can think about. To me, that is what depression is. At least one of the kinds of depression that are out there. Obviously, there's what I like to call stage 4 depression, which is like Avicii's status, where Avicii, no matter what happened in his life, no matter what success he attained, he was never gonna fill that hole. He could not have happiness. But my kind of depression that I experience is when I'm not getting something I'm working for, something I want, I get really down about it. Why aren't things working out? Because I'm a very passionate person. I'm a hype man. But imagine that passion put inward. So when I don't get what I want and things aren't happening, I get very upset and very discouraged, and I shut down and thoughts just take over my head. And I understand I'm diagnosing myself, and I understand it's controversial to talk about depression as different wavelengths of it. But I think with anything, there's high levels and low levels. And I'm somebody that once I get what I want, once I get what I'm working for, I'm no longer depressed. So maybe you can say it's not clinical with me. I don't know. But I do know that, like, let's say tomorrow we blow up and I'm an Avicii type artist, I would be extremely happy. Like, sure, it could always creep back in, other things, life's gonna happen, but I know that I'm capable of happiness. I am capable of it. Where I realize that, obviously, like I said, stage 4 depression, there's some people that no matter what they do, they won't achieve it. Now, going back to the obsessive thoughts that I have, one of my big things is freedom of speech. And when I feel like I can't get my opinion out because I'm scared that the lynching circle is going to come in and try to cancel me or destroy me or label me something horrible because of my opinion, I feel very threatened. And so anytime I have a thought and I want to get it out there, but then I tell myself I have a fear that it's going to ruin me or going to make me appear to be something I'm not, whether that's, racist, misogynistic, asshole, dickhead, anti-country, whatever it may be. In this case, anti-depression. When I have these thoughts, I have these battles in my head, and for days, it'll start eating me alive. And this was one of those things where I had this thought upon reading a tweet, and I wanted to tweet this, and I said, why am I gonna be bullied? Let me just put this out there. And when I put it out there, I felt better. I honestly did. It was a release for me. And Kanye spoke about this a lot, and look at what happened with him.
Well, listen, Mysterio, listen. I gotta interject here, man, because we're going on this for now 10 minutes now. I gotta say, listen, everyone's depression or any mental illness or any problem that anyone's facing is completely it's all subjective, and depression doesn't discriminate. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. Just know that when you're putting it on the internet, it's available for everyone to see, just like you said earlier. And
that's why I'm not complaining about people coming at me. Like, I even tweeted, like, I guess in a way I deserve it. And I don't want my fans to think I'm apologizing or anything like that, but I am a human being that's a work in progress. And I deal with my depression in my own ways, and releasing my ideas into the world help that. But I do realize that my tweet was one-sided. It was from one perspective. And I regret that. And I regret that people think that I denounce DJs, depression. Like, I'm the kind of guy, if I'm ever on tour with any of those guys, and I hope it happens one day, we'll be at a festival, I'll be in the green room and we can have a real conversation about it. And I know that we'd get along. We can find common ground, because some of these guys did hit me up, and we did find common ground through dialogue and through conversation. And I think that's always possible. And I'm also the kind of guy, if a buddy's depressed on tour, this has happened to me. After the show, we've gone in the green room and I had 3-hour conversations. Like, I'm not somebody who doesn't believe in depression. On the contrary, I think 9 out of 10 people suffer from depression. This motherfucker next to me is the one guy I know that I've never seen fall into a rut. But a majority of the people that I know suffer from it in one way or another. And I guess the point that I was trying to make was, within the profession, I felt that DJs have fan bases and they have followers that could respond and make them feel good when they tweet something like that. Because again, I wasn't telling them not to do it. I said I was tired of it. But they obviously can do it, and they have that kind of support. But what about the sanitation worker who's tired of picking up garbage 7 days a week?
All right, Mysterio,
so if he goes on Twitter and says, you know what, I'm getting really tired of picking up this garbage, man. You know what he's gonna get? Maybe one like from his friend Doug from high school, So I was just trying to say that, like, within the profession, there is a certain kind of privileges that you have.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to take anything
Again,
away.
everyone's problems are relative to their own, brother. Like, you know, it doesn't
I know.
doesn't matter if
I
you're
know.
rich and famous. It doesn't matter if you're a garbage man or a garbage woman, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, dude.
And I listened to people when they said stuff like that to me, and it did open my mind, and I'm a human being that's constantly improving.
For sure,
And
we
when
all
I heard
are.
people say this, I started to feel bad about what I wrote, and I looked at it from a different way.
Well, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that happened because that's like you said.
I don't regret
we're all
it. I
working.
spoke my mind, and it was an opinion.
We know that you don't regret it. We know that we're all human beings, like you said. We're all a work in progress.
But SAV, I
respect
do
you for
need
that.
to say though, hey, listen, we can't talk about something that like this magnitude and just rush through it. It's either we do it or we don't.
We've been talking about it
Hey,
for 12 minutes.
Hey, people can close the podcast if they're not interested. But I do need to say, because I got to get this off my chest, I did start to feel like this is the best metaphor I can give you. I felt like I was standing there with a picket that said Black Lives Matter, and then the bigger DJs were coming at me going, yeah, all lives matter. And it's like, I understand all lives matter, but right now I'm talking about the black lives. You know, for me, it wasn't that I was saying that their depression is worse than yours. I was just saying I feel that big DJs have more outlets and more opportunities to feel better, whereas the struggling DJ that's working 4 jobs and struggling to pay rent while making music and trying to book his own tours doesn't really get that from his fan base. He can't even get his friends to like his shit. So I was focusing on the group that's less talked about of the two in the depression world. You know, it was like, yo, I understand the big DJs have their own set of pressures and problems and agents and all that come into play, and they put more pressures on you, and that adds to more depression, more money, more problems. I get that. But it was like, right now I'm not talking about you guys. I'm addressing the struggling people on my page. And that's just something that initially, you know, I wouldn't feel right if I didn't address also. I'm not just here to apologize. I'm also here to speak the truth, as I always do, because I'm fucking real. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. But I will say that this whole thing did restore my faith in the internet, because as much as I got bashed, there were people that actually like respected that I created a dialogue. Inadvertently, I'm not trying to take credit for that, because some people are like, now you're taking credit for it, creating a dialogue. No. But through my thing, people coming at me, and instead of me going back at them and cursing them out, and we just go back and forth like Republicans and Democrats, with some of them I was able to actually get somewhere. Don't get me wrong, some of these big DJs blocked my comments, and they just left the quoted original one, and they didn't leave up my rebuttal, and that kind of hurt me. But other ones said things like much love, and, you know, and some of the girls didn't even want to acknowledge my rebuttal. But that made me chuckle, because I have a girlfriend for 3 years, and I know that girls, you have to work harder to earn a girl's respect. And it wasn't going to happen through a Twitter conversation. Not that I think I would change anyone's mind, but I do think that me and these girl DJs could have, maybe one day we'll be at a festival and we can discuss it. And I think we can have a good dialogue about it. But yeah, okay, that's all I have to say on the issue.
It was a very polarizing tweet, to say the least.
Understandable, absolutely.
But moving on, I want to talk about something.
We're not gonna close on that? That's like a pretty juicy.
No, I want to talk about Getter. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take the reins on this one, because
I taught for a while.
you did. And I really want to talk about Getter, because it really hits home, really hits close to home for me, because so for those of you that don't know, Getter apparently was touring, and he was touring his latest album, which completely deviated from his original sound, which apparently was, to my understanding, from what a lot of producers are telling me, is the early origins of rhythm. So Getter is like apparently the father of rhythm. I'm not saying this isn't coming from me. This is what producers have been telling me. So anyways, imagine going from that to like really like the opposite end of the spectrum. He was basically the last album, if you listen to it, I don't even know the name of it, but it's like chill step. That's the best way to describe it. It's very chill, like ambience and very non-aggressive music, which is fine. I mean, that was his prerogative as an artist. And the reason I want to touch on this topic is because it's pretty saddening to me that he wasn't allowed to do that, because when he did this tour and he was predominantly playing the music from his latest album, fans were enraged and they were asking for their money back, and it eventually led for him to cancel the rest of his tour. And I just think it's a pretty crummy situation, because I'm over here and I'm working day and night endlessly. I'm actually putting together an album for Fight Club. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is what the album's going to sound like now in 2019. But what's the follow-up going to sound like? And that's just the way my brain works. It's just on to the next thing. Even though I'm living in the present, I'm already thinking about the future. Some people might say that that's a mistake, but that's just how I think. So my train of thought is like, okay, I wonder if one day fans are going to come at us when we deviate from our sound. And that's not to say that I'm going to completely go the other way with our sound.
They're not going to come after you.
But let's say let's say I have every God-given right to do that as an artist, and I think Getter had that right.
He does.
And I know you disagree with me on this.
No,
but,
I don't.
Well, okay. I'm just my point is, I think Getter had every right to do this, and he was chastised for that from his fan base.
Yes.
His fan base was not receptive to the change, and what I don't agree with is the fact that he canceled the tour. I think Getter should have continued touring. He shouldn't have canceled the tour, because
you got the promoters, you got the club, you're fucking a lot of people over.
A lot of people got screwed over.
Your own team.
It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the people that purchased tickets.
Your fans, number one.
For sure. And I think it would have been more of a bold statement.
Money to go in this club, money they don't have. I always think about that. And money they don't have, and you really think that venue's gonna reimburse them? I don't know.
And I think it would have been more of a bold statement for him to continue the tour, to show people, the naysayers, like, hey, listen, you guys may not want this, but this is the kind of art that I want to put forth into the world. This is what I want to showcase. If you guys aren't with it, then hey, maybe you shouldn't be my fans anymore. However, that being said, there is a certain methodology to this. Like, I think the protocol should have been like, all right, someone in his team should have said, hey, dude, listen, you want to do this, more power to you, but you got to ease them into it. Play your album, play your new stuff, but play the old stuff too. You know, now I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what transpired, but it's to my understanding that he just did not play any of his old stuff. He was just playing like all the chill stuff, and that really enraged fans. It's like you say, Mysterio, there are ways to doing things. Sure. If you want to put forth this idea, you got to do it a certain way.
You always got to keep somewhat of yourself in what you do. And that's something that you always do. You change your sound, but you keep an element of the SAV sounds and the Fight Club sounds. And that's why I don't think you're going to be in that predicament. But you have every choice, every right to do that, like you said. And I agree that Getter had every right to do that. What Getter is wrong is he wants to have his cake and eat it too. You have a right to change your sound, but then do not be surprised when people get pissed off. What Getter wanted to change his sound, and he wanted everybody to just be on board. All these, crazy dubstep banger kids that like going fucking nuts. He wanted them to be like, oh, we're gonna grow up with Getter now. We grew up with him. We're mature now too, and we like more mature music now. And yeah, this is our jam now, and we're suddenly more low key. And no, like it doesn't work that way. Maybe some of them liked it, but dude, we live in a free world, a democracy. Like, people are gonna pick and choose what they like, and they're not gonna just like it because you're making it. I mean, would you even want them to do that? You want people to be real about what they like, Am I boring you, SAB?
No, the name of the album is called Visceral, and it was called the Visceral Tour. I was just looking it up. Sorry.
So no problem with changing your sound, but when you're gonna do something that risque, you gotta expect that you're gonna get some negative feedback.
Absolutely.
But you gotta be strong, dude. Like,
I don't agree with it. I don't agree with him canceling.
Because now you cancel, and like that's like all this work you put into it. That's what he was saying. He put so many years into preparing for this, and you're just gonna give up like that, like because of a couple of bad shows. No, you gotta keep it going and find a ways to reform it. Like you said, you can still do that, but maybe sneak some of those older songs in there, and then maybe the kids will start to appreciate the new stuff.
For sure.
Because they're happy they're hearing the old stuff.
I just think that he sees someone like Porter Robinson who successfully made the transition.
Right.
Porter Robinson used to make electro house bangers, and now he's doing like his own thing. I don't even know how to describe it at this point. It's like anime meets trance meets so many other different amazing genres. But it worked for Porter, and in the beginning, not everyone was 100% receptive towards it. Yeah, but then people became fond of it and grew to appreciate it. And I think Getter was expecting the same thing. But even if you listen to Porter's Worlds Tour or whatever he's doing now, he sneaks in some of the older stuff into the sets, and the fans appreciate that. And again, I wasn't there. I don't know if Getter was doing this, but from the looks of it, he wasn't. And that was mistake number one. Mistake number two is there's guys like, for example, GTA, right? Like when they play specific sets, they label them by colors. So they're like color coordinating, which I think is kind of neat. Like for example, their house sets are called the purple set, and the Moombatone sets are the yellow sets. I mean, there's ways of doing this and informing the fans about what you're doing. And I think Getter just, he didn't do it very gracefully. He didn't make that transition very gracefully, and he paid the price for it. And apparently so did many other fans who literally paid to see him, and are probably stuck trying to get refunds right now. I'm not sure what the situation is, but it's pretty chaotic from the looks of it. And I just wanted to talk about that because it was definitely in the back of my mind. And again, I don't know what the future holds for us sonically, but which I'm sure we will evolve our sound. If we ever do this, and you guys watch this podcast, you can reference it. You have my word, like Mysterio said. If we change our sound up and go in a different direction, we will do it in a way where we will ease you into it. It'll be a smooth transition. We'll try to make it as smooth as possible, right, Mysterio?
We will try to make it as smooth as possible. We're always going to stay true to who we are, at the core of the music and the branding and everything we do. And also, we both love film, and we started this thing as a cinematic journey. You better believe if we were doing some new sounds that we would creatively insert in the right times in the set some of our biggest hits. You're always going to hear a Savage EP cut in one of these, or was some of the biggest things that have brought us where we are. Because it's about not forgetting where you come from.
Absolutely.
And that's our word.
It's all about how you intertwine things, for sure. Past and present and future. And we always try to tell you guys a story when you come out to listen to our sets.
And it's also like whenever we go to concerts and everything, and when the artist plays a deep cut or something we weren't expecting, we love it. And we're fans first. So we have that in mind whenever an audience comes to see us. So we're always gonna wanna make you go home happy and sneak something in there that you grew up with us and that you love. We're never gonna just ever play new shit that you'd never heard before for the entire night.
Yeah, it's kind of a letdown for me when I go to a show. Let's say I'm going to see one of my favorite rock bands, and then they just play all new records. I always feel let down. But then there are some bands that surprise you because they know how to gracefully intertwine their entire catalog somehow. It's crazy.
We saw Limp Bizkit recently. They were playing all covers.
Yeah, I don't know what that
We
was.
were very upset by that. They were playing other people's music. And when they weren't playing other people's music, they were playing shit from the Chocolate Starfish, their sellout album. It's like, what are you doing?
That was weird.
It was weird.
But guys, we have to close this one out. We have a new track coming out on our label, Fight Free. If you guys don't know about the label, make sure to check it out. Fight Free.
Zemex.
No, Zemex was last time. This is Bad Mood, and the song is called Trello.
I'm sorry.
We have a lot of new music on the way. Just want to give a shout out to everyone who's submitting their music, and just keep them coming, guys, because we're listening, and we already have like pretty much the rest of the year mapped out as far as releases. We've been getting tons of submissions from you guys, and a lot of amazing stuff. So we leave you with this last track, Bad Mood. The song is called Trello. Shout outs to Bad Mood. This is SAV, as Mysterio likes to call me. And that's Mysterio, signing out.
Put